Hello, my friend. Thank you for being here. Today, I want to tell you a true story. It is a story about love, pain, betrayal, and finding strength. It is my story. My name is Emily Parker. I was just like many other women. I believed in love. I believed in happy endings. I believed that if you give your heart to someone, they will protect it. But sometimes, love can break you. And sometimes, the person you love the most is the one who hurts you the deepest. This is the story of how I found out the truth about my husband, and how I found myself again. Let me take you back to that moment. It was a cold, rainy night in New York City. The sound of the rain on the window was soft and steady. I was sitting alone in our small apartment, holding a warm cup of tea. Outside, the city lights sparkled like stars that had fallen to the ground. It was beautiful, peaceful, but my heart felt heavy. I was waiting for Jason, my husband. We had been married for 3 years. Jason was tall, handsome, and charming. Everyone liked him. I still remember the night he proposed to me. We were on a beach in California. He gave me a single red rose. His phone played soft music. He looked into my eyes and said, "Emily, you are my dream. You are everything to me." I believed him. At 25 years old, I thought I had the perfect life. A kind husband, a cozy apartment in Manhattan, and my dream business, a small bakery I opened last year. I was happy. Or, at least, I thought I was. But slowly, things started to feel different. Jason came home late more often. He said, "It's just work." But something in his eyes had changed. He didn't look at me the same way. He stopped kissing my forehead before bed. He didn't hold me like he used to. His touch felt cold. I told myself, it's just stress. He's tired. He still loves me. But deep inside, my heart whispered, "Emily, something is wrong." One night, I waited for him like always. The clock hit midnight. He finally walked through the door. He smelled like perfume. Not my perfume. It was strong, expensive, and unfamiliar. His shirt was half-buttoned. His hair was messy. His smile looked fake. "Sorry, babe," he said, avoiding my eyes. We had a late meeting. I nodded. I didn't want to fight. But inside, my chest felt tight. I followed him to the bedroom. He took a quick shower and got into bed. I looked at him. His eyes were closed. He looked peaceful. I wanted to ask, "Jason, are you seeing someone else?" But the words stayed in my mouth. I stayed quiet. I lay beside him, pretending to sleep. My heart was loud, too loud. I wanted to believe he still loved me, but something inside me was breaking. 2 weeks passed. He continued to act strange. He started taking his phone everywhere, even to the bathroom. He laughed at messages, but never shared them with me. He wore new shirts. He started using a different cologne. One morning, I looked at myself in the mirror. I saw fear in my eyes. Fear of the truth. I couldn't take it anymore. That evening, while he was in the shower, I picked up his phone. I knew it was wrong, but my hands moved before I could stop them. They were shaking. My fingers opened his messages. And then I saw it. A message from a woman named Sabrina. "Last night was amazing. Babe, I miss your touch already." My breath stopped. I read more. Pictures, words, sweet messages I thought he only said to me. "Can't wait to see you again. You looked so hot in that red dress." My legs felt weak. I dropped the phone. I sat on the bed, holding my chest. Tears filled my eyes. My lips trembled. I whispered, "Why, Jason? Why?" That night, I said nothing. I smiled. I cooked dinner. He didn't notice anything. Later, we made love for the first time in months. His hands were warm. His lips were soft. I wanted to believe it was real, even though I knew it was a lie. After I lay beside him, I felt his breath on my neck, and I stared at the ceiling. How can someone love two women at the same time? This was just the beginning of a storm I never saw coming. I thought I had a perfect life, but I was wrong, and soon I would see the truth with my own eyes. The next day, I woke up with tears still in my eyes. Jason was already in the shower. I could hear him singing softly, like everything was fine, but inside me, nothing was fine. My heart felt like it was bleeding. The man I loved had betrayed me. I walked to the kitchen and made coffee. My hands were shaking. I tried to stay calm, but every sip reminded me of the message. Sabrina, the hotel, the red dress, the lies. Jason came out of the bathroom wearing only a towel. He smiled and said, "You look beautiful this morning." He kissed my cheek. That kiss felt like poison. "Thanks," I whispered. I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw the coffee in his face. But I stayed quiet, because I was planning something. That evening, I looked at him and said, "Let's have dinner together tomorrow. Just the two of us. I miss our time." He smiled. "Of course," he said. I nodded, but my mind was somewhere else. I needed answers. I needed to see the truth with my own eyes. The next day, Jason said he had a meeting at 6:00 p.m. I waited for him to leave the apartment. Then I followed him. I wore a black coat. I tied my hair. I took a cab and told the driver to follow his car. My heart was beating fast. My hands were cold. After 30 minutes, he stopped. It was a hotel in Brooklyn. I watched from a distance. Jason walked inside, smiling. A few minutes later, a woman arrived. She was wearing a red dress. She kissed his cheek. It was Sabrina. I had seen her photo in his messages. Now she was here, with him. They walked into the hotel together. I stood there, frozen. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just stood there. I stared at the hotel door. I felt my heart breaking, piece by piece. What had I done to deserve this? I gave him everything, my love, my trust, my body, and he gave me betrayal. That night, Jason came home with flowers. He smiled and said, "For you." "Babe." I took the flowers. I smiled. "Thank you," I said softly. He had no idea I knew. I went to the bedroom, closed the door, and cried into my pillow. My whole body shook, but I didn't make a sound. I looked at myself in the mirror. My eyes were red. My lips were dry. And I asked, "Am I not enough?" The next morning, I opened my diary. I wrote, "He cheated on me, but I still love him." Why do hearts stay where they are hurt the most? I didn't know what to do. Should I leave him? Should I fight for him? Should I pretend and let the pain eat me inside? I felt lost. But one thing was clear. My life would never be the same again. That evening, I cooked dinner. I made his favorite grilled salmon with garlic butter. I set the table with candles. I wore a soft red dress, the same one I wore on our honeymoon. I brushed my hair the way he liked. I put on light perfume. He walked in and looked surprised. "Wow," he said. "You look amazing." I smiled and sat at the table. We talked. We laughed. I acted like the perfect wife. But inside, I was counting the minutes, waiting for the right time. After dinner, we moved to the couch. He poured us wine. He leaned in and kissed my lips. I let him. His hand touched my waist. He whispered, "I missed you, baby." That word baby used to make me feel warm. Now it felt dirty. I gently pulled away. "Jason," I said softly. He looked at me. "Yes?" "Do you love me?" I asked. He looked surprised. Of course I do. Then why are you sleeping with another woman? Silence. He froze. His smile disappeared. His eyes grew wide. His hand fell from my waist. What? What are you talking about? I stood up. My hands were shaking. I said, I saw the messages. I followed you to the hotel. I saw her. The red dress. The kiss. Everything. He looked like he had been punched. Emily, I can explain. No, don't lie to me now. I said, just tell me the truth. Why? He looked down. Then he whispered, I never planned this. I don't know how it started. It just happened. She was there when I was stressed. She made me feel good. I didn't mean to fall into it. I swear. I laughed. But there was no joy in my voice. You felt good. And what about me? I was here, waiting, loving you, trusting you. What about my feelings? He looked up. His eyes were red. I'm sorry, Emily. I messed up. I know I did. But I still love you. Then why did you touch her? Kiss her? Sleep with her? I shouted. He didn't answer. Because there was no answer that could fix what he broke. I walked into the bedroom. I locked the door. He knocked. Please, Emily, open the door. Talk to me. But I stayed silent. I cried all night. My pillow was wet. I hugged my knees. I felt like I was disappearing. And the next morning, my world would start to change forever. The next morning, I woke up alone. Jason had already left for work. The apartment felt quiet. Too quiet. I sat on the couch, holding a cup of tea. My eyes were tired. My body felt weak. And my heart, it was broken. I looked at the wedding photo on the wall. It was taken on the happiest day of my life. Jason was smiling, holding my hands. I was wearing a white dress, full of hope. I remembered the words he said that day. I'll never hurt you. Now, that promise felt like a joke. I stood up and walked to the bedroom. I opened the closet. I took out a small bag. I packed just a few clothes, a sweater, 2 shirts, my favorite jeans. I grabbed my diary and my pain. Then I walked out the door. I didn't leave a note. I didn't send a message. I just left. I went to my best friend Mia's apartment. She opened the door and looked at me. Her smile dropped. Emily, she said, what happened? I didn't say a word. She pulled me into a hug. I cried on her shoulder like a child. You can stay here as long as you want, she said. You don't deserve this. I nodded. But I didn't speak. I sat by her window and looked out at the street. People were walking. Cars were moving. Life was going on. But inside me, everything had stopped. Days passed. Jason called. He texted. He sent flowers. He begged to talk. But I didn't reply. I needed time. Time to breathe. Time to feel. Time to decide. Was love enough to forget betrayal? Could I ever trust him again? One evening, I sat with Mia on her small balcony. We were drinking hot chocolate. The air was cool and quiet. She looked at me and asked, do you still love him? I nodded. Yes, I do. That's the problem, I said. I love him so much. It hurts. She reached out and held my hand. Then she asked me something I will never forget. Emily, do you love yourself too? Her question hit me like a wave. It was simple, but powerful. I had never really asked myself that before. Did I love myself? Had I forgotten who I was? Was I always trying to be the perfect wife? The sweet girl? The one who forgives everything? What about the girl inside me? The one who deserved honesty, respect, and care? That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed and thought about my life. I thought about all the times I said yes when I wanted to say no. All the times I stayed silent when I wanted to speak. All the times I smiled when I wanted to cry. I realized something. I had been loving him more than I loved myself, and that had to change. The next day, I called Jason. My voice was calm. "Let's meet," I said. We met at a small cafe, away from the busy streets. When he walked in, I saw it in his eyes. He looked tired, guilty, sad. He sat down across from me. "I'm sorry," he said again. "I know," I replied. "I want to fix this," he said. "I'll do anything, therapy, honesty, anything you ask." I looked at him. I still loved him, but I needed more than just words. "Jason," I said, "I still love you, but I need time." He looked confused. "I need time to learn how to trust again. Time to learn how to love myself again. Time to decide if I can truly forgive." He nodded slowly. "I'll wait," he said. "I'll be here." I believed him, but I also believed in myself now. I was no longer just the wife. I was a woman learning how to be whole again. 1 month later, I moved back home. But things were different. We started going to couples therapy. We talked. We cried. We fought. It was not easy. Some nights, I hated him. Some nights, I missed him so much I wanted to hold him forever. But we kept trying. He opened up. He told me his fears, his guilt, his weaknesses, and slowly, I started healing too. We made love again. But this time, there were no secrets. It was not just physical. It was emotional. It was two broken hearts, trying to find their way back. This is not a fairy tale, but it is real. And sometimes, real is even more powerful. Living with Jason again felt strange at first. The apartment was the same. The photos were still on the walls. Our bed was still soft and warm. But something had changed. The way we looked at each other, the way we spoke, the silence between us was different now. It was no longer the silence of secrets. It was the silence of two people trying to heal. Every Tuesday evening, we went to couples therapy. A kind woman named Dr. Benson listened to us. She asked simple questions. How did that make you feel? What do you need from each other now? What does forgiveness look like for you? Sometimes, I cried in that room. Sometimes, Jason cried too. One day, he said, I was weak. I didn't know how to talk about my stress. Instead, I ran away to someone who didn't really know me. That hurt to hear, but it was honest. And honesty is where healing begins. At home, we started doing small things again. We cooked dinner together. We watched old movies. We sat on the balcony and said nothing, just feeling the quiet. One evening, Jason said, I miss the way you laugh. I haven't heard it in so long. I looked at him and smiled softly. I forgot how to laugh, I said. He reached across the table and touched my hand. Then I want to help you remember. It wasn't easy. Some days were good. Other days, I couldn't even look at him. Some mornings, I would make coffee and smile. Other mornings, I stayed in bed and stared at the ceiling. The memories of the hotel, the messages, they didn't leave quickly. Healing isn't like turning off a light. It's slow. It takes time. It takes effort. It takes love. One night, I asked him, Do you ever think about her? He shook his head. No, he said. She was never my future. Only a mistake. You are my home. That made me cry. Not because I was sad, but because I wanted to believe him. And slowly, I was learning I started writing in my diary again. But this time, the words were different. Before, I wrote, He cheated on me. I don't know what to do. Now I wrote, We are trying. It still hurts, but I'm stronger than before. I also started doing things for myself. I joined a yoga class. I spent more time at my bakery. I called my parents more often. And sometimes, I just sat in the park with a book and let the sun touch my skin. I was learning how to be Emily again. Not just Jason's wife, but a woman with her own heart, her own mind, her own dreams. One Sunday morning, I woke up before Jason. I made pancakes his favorite. He walked into the kitchen, smiled, and said, "This feels like the old days." I looked at him and said, "No, this is not the old us. This is the new us, stronger, braver, more real." He nodded, and for the first time in a long time, I believed him. Later that day, we took a walk near the river. We held hands. It was quiet, peaceful. He stopped walking and looked at me. "I'm sorry again," he said, "for everything." I didn't say anything. I just held his hand tighter. Because sometimes, love doesn't need words. Sometimes, love is just choosing to stay and choosing to heal. That night, we lay in bed facing each other. He touched my face gently and whispered, "You are still the most beautiful thing in my life." I smiled, and for the first time in a long time, I laughed. It was soft, but real, and he smiled too. Love is not perfect. People are not perfect. But love is a choice, a daily decision, to listen, to forgive, to try, and now we were trying, together, one day at a time. When someone breaks your heart, it's hard to trust them again, even if they say "I'm sorry," even if they cry and promise to change. The truth is, words are not enough. You need time. You need action. You need to feel safe again. That's what I told Jason. And slowly, he started to understand. Every morning, he made me coffee, not because he had to, but because he wanted to show me that I mattered. He started sending me small messages during the day. "I'm thinking of you. I miss your smile. I'm proud of how strong you are." They weren't big words, but they meant something. Because now, he was present. He was trying. He was choosing me. One afternoon, I found an old photo album in the closet. It had pictures from our first year of marriage. Beach walks, movie nights, our trip to Paris. I smiled, looking at our young faces. So happy, so in love, so innocent. Jason came and sat beside me. He looked at the photos too. "I miss those days," he said. I nodded. "I miss who we were," I replied. He took my hand. "But I like who we are becoming more," he said, "because now we know how to fight for love." And he was right. We started going on small dates again. Nothing fancy, just simple things. Ice cream in the park, a walk under the stars, cooking together in the kitchen with music playing. I wore my red dress one night, the same one I wore on our honeymoon. He looked at me and said, "You are even more beautiful now." And for once, I believed him. Because beauty is not just outside. It's in the strength to forgive. It's in the courage to stay. It's in the choice to love again. We still had bad days. Sometimes, I would remember the betrayal, the hotel, the messages, the perfume. It came like a wave. Sudden, strong, painful. But instead of hiding it, I told him, "Jason, today I feel the pain again." And he didn't get angry. He didn't walk away. He listened. He held me and said, "I'm here. I'm not leaving. Feel whatever you need to feel." That made all the difference. Because healing doesn't mean forgetting. It means being able to feel the pain and still choose love. I also worked on myself every week. I wrote in my journal, not just about Jason, but about me. What I wanted, what I feared, what I dreamed. I asked myself important questions. What kind of woman do I want to be? What kind of life do I want to live? Do I feel proud of who I am becoming? And the answer slowly became yes. My bakery started doing better. Customers loved my new cinnamon rolls. One little girl came in with her mom and said, "Your cookies are the best in the whole world." I smiled big, because even small words can light up a dark heart. One weekend, Jason and I went to a lake outside the city. We rented a small cabin. No phones, no emails, just us. We sat by the water in the evening, watching the sky change colors. He turned to me and said, "Emily, do you think you can ever forgive me fully?" I looked at him. My heart was quiet. My thoughts were clear. "I don't know if I'll forget," I said, "but I am learning to forgive a little more every day." He nodded slowly. "I'll wait for that day," he whispered. That night, we held each other under the stars. There were no big words, no promises, just two people, trying to love again, trying to heal, without rushing, without hiding, because love after pain is not about going back, it's about moving forward, together, and that's what we were doing, one step at a time, one day at a time, one moment at a time. 2 months had passed since I returned home. Life was calmer now. There were no more secrets, no more lies, but the memories still lived inside me. I smiled more. I laughed sometimes. But at night, when everything was quiet, I still remembered. Sometimes I woke up from dreams that felt too real. In the dreams, I saw Jason with her. I saw the hotel. I saw the red dress. And even though he was lying next to me, I felt far away from him. One night, I couldn't sleep. I got out of bed and went to the living room. I sat on the couch with my diary. I wrote one line, "I am healing, but I am still hurting." Jason walked in quietly. He saw me sitting alone in the dark. "Emily, are you okay?" he asked gently. I looked at him and said, "Sit with me. I need to talk." He nodded and sat beside me. I looked into his eyes. They were soft, sad. "I want to tell you everything I've been holding in," I said. He nodded again. "I'm ready." So I spoke my truth. The truth I had been keeping inside since the day I found out. "Jason, when I saw those messages, I felt like I died." He closed his eyes. But I continued. "I felt small. I felt like I wasn't enough." I looked in the mirror and didn't recognize myself. I thought, what did I do wrong? Was I not pretty enough? Not fun enough? Not lovable anymore? He reached for my hand, but I pulled away. "Please," I said, "just listen." He nodded and stayed quiet. "I hated you," I whispered. "I hated that I still loved you even after what you did. I hated that my heart didn't stop loving you, even when you broke it." Tears filled his eyes. I asked myself every day, why did he choose her? Was I not good enough? I paused, but now I know. It wasn't about me. It was about you. Your stress, your choices, your pain. But the damage was done to me. Jason put his head in his hands. I know, Emily. I'm so sorry." "I believe you're sorry," I said, "but I need you to understand something. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It means I'm trying to move forward. But I can't do it alone. I need you to walk this journey with me every single step." He looked up. "I will. I promise." Then something beautiful happened. He didn't just say, "I'm sorry again." He said something else. "Emily," he said, "tell me how to love you better now. I don't want to love you the way I used to. I want to love you the way you need." That moment, it touched something deep inside me. Because for the first time, he wasn't trying to defend himself. He wasn't trying to explain. He was just listening. And he was ready to learn. I took a deep breath, and I told him what I needed. I need honesty, every day. I need small things that show you care, like helping in the kitchen, or holding my hand in public. I need you to ask me how I feel. Even if the answer is hard to hear, I need you to tell me you love me, not just with words, but with actions. He nodded. I can do that, he said. I want to do that. We sat in silence for a while. Then he pulled me close, slowly, carefully. I love you, Emily, he whispered, more now than ever, because I see how strong you are, and I want to be a better man for you. That night, we didn't make love. We just held each other, and sometimes that's even more intimate, because true love isn't just physical. It's emotional. It's spiritual. It's choosing to stay even when it's hard. The next morning, I woke up before him. I looked at his face, relaxed in sleep, and I didn't feel anger. I didn't feel pain. I felt peace, a small kind of peace, like the beginning of a new chapter. I went to the kitchen and made breakfast. When he walked in, I smiled and said, "Sit down. I made your favorite." He smiled back, and for the first time in a long time, we ate breakfast like two people who were in love. Not perfect, but real, because sometimes the strongest love is the love that survives the storm. Not untouched, not the same, but stronger, because it was tested. The days started to feel lighter. I smiled more. I didn't cry as often. Jason and I were slowly rebuilding what we had lost. Not the old love. That love was gone. But something new was growing in its place. A deeper love. A love with scars, but also strength. One Friday evening, we went grocery shopping together. Something small, something normal, but it felt special. We walked through the aisles. Holding hands, Jason asked, "Do you still like blueberry yogurt?" I laughed. "You remember?" "I remember everything," he said, and I believed him. At home, we cooked dinner together. We listened to soft music. We talked about simple things, work, the weather, a funny video we saw online. No pain, no heavy words, just life. After dinner, we danced in the kitchen, slow and quiet, the way we used to. I closed my eyes, and for a moment, I felt happy, really happy, but healing isn't a straight road. It has turns, it has bumps, and one of those bumps came the very next day. Jason's phone rang while he was in the shower. I looked at the screen. The name said, "Unknown number." And just like that, my chest tightened. Old fear returned. Was it her? Was he hiding something again? I didn't touch the phone. I just stared at it. When Jason came out, I asked, "Who was calling?" He looked at the screen and said, "I don't know. No name." "Are you sure?" I asked. He paused, then said, "Yes, Emily, I'm sure." But the pause, it hurt. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept asking myself, do I trust him? Or am I just pretending to, in the dark? I whispered, "Jason, are you still being honest with me?" He turned and looked at me. "Yes," he said softly. "I know it's hard for you, but I promise, I'm not hiding anything anymore." I looked into his eyes. They looked tired, but honest. "I want to believe you," I said, "but sometimes the past still hurts." He nodded. "I know. I'm not asking you to forget. I'm just asking you to keep walking with me." I turned my back to him, but not in anger. I just needed to be in my own space. And he didn't touch me. He didn't push. He respected the distance. And that was love. The next morning, I woke up early. Jason was already in the kitchen, cooking breakfast. He looked nervous. He handed me a small note. I opened it and read, "I know I hurt you, but every day, I will earn your trust again. Even when it's hard, even when it takes time, I won't stop trying." I looked at him. He looked at me. And I cried. But it wasn't sadness. It was healing. Later that week, I met my friend Mia for coffee. She looked at me and said, "You look different." "Different how?" I asked. "Stronger," she said. "Softer, but stronger." I smiled. "It's been hard," I said, "but we're trying. And I'm trying to love myself too." She held my hand. "I'm proud of you." On the walk home, I thought about those words. Stronger, but softer. That's exactly how I felt. Not cold, not angry, but wise, kind, to myself, to Jason, to love. That night, I stood by the window and looked at the city lights. I thought about everything. The betrayal, the tears, the anger, the therapy, the hard talks, the small laughs, the quiet hugs. And I realized something. The storm didn't break us. It changed us. And in some ways, it brought us closer. Jason came behind me and wrapped his arms around my waist. "I love you," he whispered. "I know." I said, "I'm learning to love you again." He kissed my shoulder and said, "Then I'll keep giving you reasons to." We didn't need perfect days. We just needed honest ones. One quiet morning, I sat at the bakery before it opened. The smell of fresh bread filled the air. I held a warm cup of coffee and looked out the window. The street was still. The world hadn't started moving yet. For the first time in a long time, I felt calm. Not perfect, not healed completely, but calm. I opened my diary. Usually, I wrote about Jason, about the pain, about the love, about the confusion. But today, I decided to write to someone else. I decided to write to myself. "Dear Emily," I began, "you've been through a storm. You've cried more tears than anyone should. You've broken. You've screamed into pillows. You've sat in silence, asking, 'Why me?' But look at you now. You are still standing, still breathing, still loving, still hoping." I paused and smiled. Then I kept writing, "You loved someone so deeply that his betrayal nearly destroyed you. But you didn't let it. You walked away when it hurt the most. You chose yourself. You chose healing. And even when you came back, you didn't come back as a weak woman. You came back stronger. You set boundaries. You asked for the truth. You demanded respect. And you're still doing that. Every day." I took a deep breath and wiped a tear from my cheek. I wasn't sad. I was proud. The letter continued. "You learn that love is not just giving. Love is balance. You are not here to be perfect. You are here to be real. And real women cry. They get angry. They break. But they rise. And Emily, you are rising." I closed the diary and looked up at the sunlight. It felt warm on my face. A new day had begun. And so had a new version of me. That evening, Jason came home early. He had flowers in his hand, yellow ones. My favorite. He smiled and said, "Today is just a normal day. But I wanted to make you smile anyway." I took the flowers and said, "Thank you. I needed this." We cooked dinner together. We talked about work, about life. Then he said, "Emily, I want to ask you something." I looked at him. "What is it?" He looked nervous. "Would you go away with me for a weekend?" he asked. "Just us. Somewhere quiet. Somewhere new. I want us to make new memories." I thought for a moment. Then I smiled. "Yes," I said. "I think we need that. The next weekend." We packed a small bag and drove to a cabin by the lake. There was no internet, no work calls, just trees, water, and the sound of birds. We sat on the porch, drinking tea and talking. We walked by the lake, holding hands in silence. And on the second night, something beautiful happened. Jason took out a small notebook. He said, "I wrote something for you." He opened it and read, "Dear Emily, you didn't just forgive me, You taught me how to love again. You showed me that real love is not soft. It is strong. It's standing in the fire and saying, I still choose you. Bin, thank you for not giving up on me. Thank you for giving us a second chance. I will never take it for granted again. I cried. I didn't plan to, but I did, because sometimes healing comes in small moments, in quiet places, with simple words. That night, we sat by the fire. No talking, just warmth and love. Not the old love, but something new, something real. Later, as I lay in bed, Jason touched my hand and whispered, I want to build the rest of my life with you, this new version of you. I looked at him and said, and I want to keep growing with you, but I'll never lose myself again. He nodded. I don't want you to, I said. You're beautiful when you're you. And for the first time in many months, I believed it. I was not just someone's wife. I was not just someone who had been betrayed. I was me, whole, flawed, strong. Because healing doesn't mean going back to who you were. It means becoming who you were always meant to be. The lake trip changed something in us. We came back home feeling closer, more honest, more connected. But that didn't mean everything was perfect. No relationship is perfect. No person is perfect. Not Jason, not me. But we were learning to be real. And real is better than perfect. One morning, I woke up and didn't feel okay. It was a normal Tuesday. The sky was gray. The apartment was quiet. But something in me felt heavy. Jason was already in the kitchen, making toast. He smiled and said, Good morning. Beautiful. I tried to smile back, but I couldn't. He noticed. What's wrong? He asked. I sat down and whispered, I don't know. I just feel sad today. He didn't tell me to cheer up. He didn't try to fix it. He just came over, sat beside me, and held my hand. Then we'll be sad together, he said softly. And that was enough. Because sometimes you don't need a solution. You just need someone who stays. Later that day, he texted me from work, thinking of you. Let me know if you want me to bring home anything sweet, like cookies, or just me. I laughed. That simple message made my heart feel lighter. That evening, we watched a movie together. Halfway through, I turned to him and asked, Do you think people can truly change? He paused the movie and looked at me. I don't know about everyone, he said, but I know I have, because losing you even for a short time was the scariest thing in my life. And I never want to feel that again. I believed him, not because of his words, but because of his actions. He was present now. He was kind. He was patient. He didn't hide his phone anymore. He didn't come home late without a reason. He shared his thoughts, his fears, his dreams. He let me into the parts of him that were once closed. And I changed too. I spoke more honestly. I stopped pretending to be fine when I wasn't. I said what I needed. I stopped saying yes when I meant no. I stopped trying to be the perfect wife. Instead, I tried to be me. Strong, kind, human. We still argued sometimes. About little things. About dinner. About plans. About who forgot to buy toothpaste. But we didn't fight to hurt each other. We fought to understand. That made all the difference. One Sunday, we went to visit my parents. My mom hugged Jason tightly. She had tears in her eyes. I was so angry at you, she said, but I see how hard you're working now. And I see how my daughter is smiling again. Jason looked down and said, I'll spend my whole life making sure she keeps smiling. That night, my mom pulled me aside. She whispered, Are you happy, sweetheart? I paused. Then I said, I'm not happy every moment, but I feel safe. I feel seen, and I feel loved. She kissed my forehead. Then that's enough, she said. Later, Jason and I walked through my old neighborhood. We passed the park where we once kissed in the snow. I looked at him and said, "Do you ever wish we could go back to the beginning?" He shook his head. "No, because the beginning was sweet. But this is real. This is love with eyes wide open. And I'd rather have this than any fairy tale." I smiled, because I felt the same. We went home, held each other in bed, and talked until we fell asleep. We talked about maybe getting a dog, or visiting Italy next summer, or taking dance lessons because I still stepped on his toes. We talked like two best friends, two partners, two people who had walked through fire, and were still standing, not as the same people we were before, but as something new, something better, not perfect, but real, and real is where true love begins. It has now been 1 full year since the night everything changed. 1 year since I found the messages. 1 year since I cried into my pillow and asked, "Why, Jason? Why me?" So much has happened since then. Some of it was painful. Some of it was beautiful. All of it was real. Today, I'm sitting in my bakery, writing this final page in my diary. The sun is shining. There's music playing softly in the background. The smell of cinnamon and sugar fills the air. And I feel peaceful. Not perfect. Not finished. But peaceful. Jason is picking me up soon. We're going to the beach for the weekend. The same beach where he first proposed. But this time, we are going not as the same couple. We are not the old Jason and Emily. We are new. We are stronger. We are honest. We have been through pain, but we came out the other side together. I still remember the moment I told Jason, "I'll stay, but I'll never forget." And he looked me in the eyes and said, "Then I will never stop earning your trust." And he kept that promise. We go to therapy once a month now. Not because we are broken, but because we want to stay whole. We talk more. We laugh more. We even argue better because now we listen. One evening last month, Jason held my hand and said, "I love you more now than I did on our wedding day." I asked, "Why?" He smiled and said, "Because now I know what love really means. It's not just flowers and kisses. It's staying. It's fighting. It's choosing someone, even when it's hard." And you know what? I feel the same. But the biggest lesson I learned this past year wasn't just about love. It was about self-love. I used to think that being a good wife meant always smiling, always forgiving, always putting someone else first. But now I know. Being a good wife starts with being good to yourself. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You must fill your own heart, too. So yes, Jason and I are still together, but I am not the same Emily. I am braver. I am wiser. I am stronger. And I finally understand that loving someone doesn't mean losing yourself. You can have both. You can love them and love you. So if you're listening to this right now, maybe you've been hurt. Too, maybe someone broke your heart. Maybe you feel lost. Let me tell you something. You are not alone. You are not weak for staying. You are not foolish for loving. You are not broken beyond repair. Healing is possible. Love can grow again. But only if you remember this. You matter. Your feelings matter. Your voice matters. So take your time. Breathe. Feel everything. And when you're ready, whether you stay or go, do it with your whole heart. And never forget to love yourself first. That's the story of me, Emily Parker, a woman who was hurt, but didn't give up. A woman who learned to fight for love, but also for herself. A woman who chose to stay, but only on her own terms. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for listening to my story. If you felt something, anything, I hope it reminded you that your story matters too. Stay kind, stay strong, and most of all, stay true to you. This is not the end. It's just the beginning of a new chapter. Thank you for watching. And if you want to hear more stories like this, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Until next time. Goodbye for now. And remember, real love always begins with you.